What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers review. And I don't know if many of you knew this. This is probably going to be a trivia question. In case anybody is taking a trivia test of my life. If anybody's ever like, hey, what's Zachamus Prime's favorite Transformers series? The answer is Transformers Prime. That's my favorite. And one of my favorite figures from Transformers Prime is definitely Bulkhead, the first edition Bulkhead. This is the Bulkhead that came out. It was a limited run that was exclusive to Toys R Us. Remember that company? Yeah. Remember that company? Yeah. They had some really nice figures that they came out with. Ooh. I remember exactly the timing of it. I don't remember if the figures came out before the show, but I know that the first edition figures came out, and then it was several months before the actual production run of figures hit shelves, which was super weird. But I mean, Transformers Prime was basically playing second fiddle to the Transformers movies at the time. I think it was Dark of the Moon. So I don't know. Personally, I think that Transformers Prime was better than any of the Transformers movies. But that's just my opinion there. So here he is, first edition Bulkhead. I also have the first edition Optimus Prime. Leave me a comment down below if you want me to review that figure as well. He comes with one accessory. It is his wrecking ball. You can sit here and you can stick it onto either arm by folding it in. This one folds in just the same. They kind of put some like little details around this. I think they're trying to make it look more like a gun barrel. It doesn't quite look like his gun barrel from his little pop-out gun from the show, which is a little bit of a missed opportunity. They would have been cool if they had like a thing that like plugged onto that to make that effect, but they don't. And even though he usually is got two of these suckers, he only comes with one, so you'd have to buy like a Shapeways reproduction or something off the internet to get that going. Sorry, that's not the coronavirus, I promise. Anyhow, so in terms of posability, his head turns. It's good enough for what he does. It's good enough for posability and whatnot. It's just not like astoundingly like, her head goes full 360 and crap like that, which is always dumb when that happens. He does have this piece here is molded in clear plastic, and that's what his eyes are. But of course, his eyes are painted, and they're actually painted quite well. I don't know why Hasbro does this a lot, where they'll like engineer in the light piping stuff, but then someone in the paint department is like, no, we're gonna paint it anyhow. It's a weird piece of miscommunication that happens all the goddamn time. It's bizarre. His arms will go all the way around. A little bit of butterfly in there due to the transformation joint, but it's like functional, usable, like, you know, like you can get some actual posability out of that little bit of butterfly, which is nice. His shoulders will go up and down and get out of the way, go up for the full tree pose. Now I've got an issue here on this joint. My bicep works just fine, but on this one, and I think that this might be just like something specific to my figure. I don't know personally. I've only owned one copy of this figure, and it's always had that problem. Now I know that they ended up, I think they just resculpted the head and released it under the Transformers Generations GDO, I think is what they called it. Like it was basically like Asian repaints that were released in an American market, and they had like Asian packaging and everything. It was really kind of interesting. I didn't pick up anything from that line except for maybe Hotspot. Anyhow, but So he's got the bicep joint. He does have a single joint at the elbow, which has quite a good range on it, actually. So that's nice. No waist joint, unfortunately. His hips go forward that much, go backwards that much. He does have the full Van Damme, 100%. He's got a rotation here at his thigh. It's technically a double jointed knee, but it really is functionally just one, because if you try bending this one here, like nothing productive comes of it. Actually, come to think of it, even when you transform it, I don't think that you use that knee. Like, I don't think that you use this joint down here at the bottom of that, because that's basically the vehicle mode. You just bend that. Bizarre, I don't know. I never really thought about that till just this moment. No real articulation on his toes, like the heel and the toe do move, but they don't add enough height to it to make it really useful. One of the downsides of that is because he's got no tilt or whatnot, if you put his legs out, like now he's trying to balance on this little curved part of the inside of, and that just doesn't really work out. So when you're posing him, you've got to have like 1 foot at an angle so that you can balance him between this point and this point, and then have him like maybe like lunging with the other one, and it just turns into a balancing act. But it's a balancing act that works, more or less. I think it's a great looking figure. The engineering on these first edition figures was amazing. In fact, the only figure that I think had a better production figure than the first edition figure was the Viacons. The first edition Viacon kind of sucked, but the production Viacon was basically perfect. Perfect enough that at one point I owned 8 of them for, dioramas and stuff, for display. I'm not usually the type of guy who gets multiple figures, but that one was a good figure. So to get this guy transformed up, it's actually fairly simple. What you want to do is bring his arms up. You want to kind of yank out his shoulders so that you get some more range up on his arms. You want to take this part, bring it down like that. That'll allow you to untab them from the backpack. The backpack is then going to go up, and that'll give you the space you need to flip the head around. Boom, like that. Put the arms back. You want to kind of rotate them around and fold the hands in, but you don't want to do anything else with them yet. You want to take these sections here and fold them back a little bit, but you don't want to do anything with those yet. You want to take these headlights, put them down, disconnect these from in front of the windshield. This dick plate comes up, allows you to untab this chest section and fold all of this down into one nice little panel. Then you're going to take his feet, fold the toe and the heel in most of the way, not all the way. If you fold it in all the way to where these are basically touching, then you'll have trouble getting it back out later. Then you want to take his leg and curl it all the way in. And you got to make sure that they go around the other side of the dick plate. There is a little tab in here. You can see it right there. There. They kind of tab these legs together, but... And then this whole section, kind of accordion, it's just, there's a slider in here. It slides in. You want to make sure that you don't catch that door segment in there. Once it slides in, there's a tab right here and right here that they'll fit into slots on the other side of this hood. Boom. Now you want to take his arms and you want to push them all the way in. These points of his elbow are going to fit into this hollow that was on his back. Like that. Make sure that these parts, these shoulder parts, are tabbed together and facing up. Now you want to take these vehicle parts and put them all the way in so they're flush against the side. Bring these both down. Bring this down. And everything has tabbed together. And there he is in his alt mode. And god damn, this just looks great. It looks like the robot mode. It looks exactly like it did on the show, basically. Really, really good. Just some high quality engineering here. Even from the other side, like you can see that the engineering is pretty impressive because everything fits together super tightly. There's no like gappiness to the transformation, to the whatnot in there. You can take this and just chunk this on there in the vehicle mode. They'll give you a place to store it. It's not going to be good for display, but it'll be good for storage. It rolls really well, and it's just a fantastic looking figure. This figure is fun to play with. It's fun to pose. It's fun to transform. It looks good on your shelf. I've been sticking this guy. Let me see if I can remember. I'm not sure. I think that he was a wrecker in Transformers Prime. I think he was a wrecker with Wheeljack. I don't know. I know that he had. It's been a couple of years since I've watched that show, unfortunately. I know that he had history with Wheeljack, and I think that they were wreckers. But I'd have to look that up before I would let anybody quote me on that. But this figure is fantastic. Go look it up. Check it out. Make sure you're getting the first edition one and not the production one, which kind of sucked. I understand, though, this is a highly sought after figure. So it may cost you a pretty penny. But, gosh, it's really good. I really love this figure. Anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. And stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya.